Hello, everybody. I'm Chaitanya. I'm the Vice President of Whistling Woods. Whistling Woods, we'd like to think, is India's premier film school. So everything that we saw out there, it's our responsibility to make sure that our students, when they graduate, are able to do all that and more. It's not easy because not only are we planning for students who will graduate 4 years from now, but the bigger worry is that there is already a workflow that we're training them on, and now we need to add on an additional workflow, and we need to make changes to the existing curriculum. So I'm going to show you a little bit of how we are approaching it, how we are thinking about it, and then some small clips of some work that students have done. Hopefully it's interesting. Thank you. Okay, so how do we approach, as a film school, how do we approach AI for filmed entertainment? So it's three simple questions. The first one is the selfish one. How will it help us? The second is the egalitarian one. How do we help AI so that it can help us? And the third one, which is more relevant to us, is do we need to change the way we teach? Or rather, how much do we need to change the way we teach? Because that question has been answered. So how can AI help me? And the simple snapshot of, just generic AI tools functions and what are the specific applications for filmed entertainment. I don't need to belabor this point. There are 1,000 tools. This is just a snapshot of some of them that we've uncovered in our journey. The second question is, how can we help AI? And this is where it gets a little more interesting, because you have to teach teenagers and people in their early 20s. You don't get anything for free. You need to work hard in order to get good content out of AI. So make sure your data labeling is fine. You're teaching it first principles, causal AI, understand a little bit of physics. Interoperability, teach boys and girls to play well with each other. TRISM, and building out knowledge graphs, because without that, the models don't really understand what is the real world and the virtual world. And all this leads to the opportunity. Now, this is where I'm going to spend some time, because this is something that we've kind of evolved over time. So if you take content and break it up into 4 tiers, the bottom tier, tier 4, is where a lot of AI is being used right now, but I'm not really seeing too many consumers willing to pay for it. It's not like you're going to subscribe to a newsfeed app because it's AI-led, or captioning or compliance. Okay, compliance a little bit maybe. Tier 3 is where, again, there's significant usage, and there is a decent amount of money being made, and people are willing to kind of build out entire businesses around tier 3. But tier 2 is really where the fun is, and tier 2 is really where the big opportunity is at this point of time. And we'll, going forward, we'll talk a little bit about 2 or 3 of the elements in tier 2 and where we are. So when we say impact of AI on job roles in film entertainment, we're not talking of the traditional conversations of how many are being lost and how many are being gained, right? Because honestly, it's very hard for anybody to know that. Our question is, where does it sit? So for some job roles, AI is an assistant. In some job roles, it's enhancing it, and in some, it's revolutionizing it. And the interesting bit is this changes every day, because new models are changing every day. So it's, my favorite line from Star Trek is, it's like you're trying to shoot a bullet with a smaller bullet while riding a horse and wearing a blindfold. That's us. That's film school. So now, how do we look at it? How have we looked at academics? And again, a 4-step process, deciding what is core and non-core to our curriculum. We only have so many hours, and we have only so many weeks, and only so many days, and so many months, and so many years to make sure that our undergrad and master students are decently well-trained and educated. So what is core and non-core? And then we do a comprehensive review and testing of everything that is out there. I mean, it's impossible to review and test everything. A, it's too expensive. B, there's just not enough time. But we try and get as much as possible. And then look at cost-benefit analysis of time versus value. How much time am I spending doing this, and how much value am I generating For a director, does he really need to know how to storyboard, or can we replace the storyboarding 30 hours that we teach a director with just a 6-hour AI module tool? So it frees me 24 hours more to teach them actually more core direction functions, things like that. And then rinse and repeat every 6 months. We've been doing this 2 years, a little under 2 years now. Some interesting stuff has come out. A lot of our curriculum has changed. So what are we evaluating? And I'm going to go very quickly through the next few slides because it's generic information. But what I wanted to, the reason why I put all of them in is to kind of give some sense of that there is a lot out there, and we're finally starting to classify it for job roles, which hasn't really happened, right? So for screenwriting and direction, now these are a bunch of tools for screenwriting and direction. What is the AI tool? What is the use case? For cinematography, what are the tools and what is the use case? The bunch of them that, again, this is just a snapshot of what we were. On an average, we're evaluating about 30 tools, at least 30 to 40 tools per function, per job role. Editing, VFX, generic AI tools, which are applicable across the board for filmed entertainment, right? And project and shot management is one that we're really, it's kind of really helping in a big way. Animation and gaming, what are all the tools that we're playing around with? So some very, very interesting tools that are coming up. Primarily, a lot of them are actually coming from Southeast Asia as well, not everything from here, and that gives us a good idea. Where, as we do with a lot of other tech companies, we work very closely with several AI OEMs as well, beta testing and doing some stuff, and then you'll see some things that we've done. Animation and gaming is a huge list, actually, especially gaming. I mean, it's incredible gaming tools out there. And then we take this, and then we take all these, and this becomes the grid, where the question is for us to start. So this is what my head of academics looks at, literally on a monthly review basis for the AI tools, and each of these is further expanded into, to get a good sense of where do we need to change our curriculum. Now, there isn't an answer yet. We're still on the journey. So this is just a showcase of the journey. And then what I'm going to show you over the next few slides is some of the content that just emerged and come out of all our review and analysis and all that. We've got about 15, 20 people at any point of time trying out different things. So what's stunning out there in AI? And let's go back to the opportunity table. Right? So in India right now, the big opportunity in film is our diversity. We make content in, 23 languages, but primarily in 14 languages, ranging from 250 to 40 films per language. Now, they don't necessarily travel well across the country. And the big opportunity is, do we have an ability to repurpose library content, multilingual, upscaling to 4K, et cetera, in order for there to be this huge opportunity for content to be screened, especially like 2024 was a bad year for Hindi films. It was a great year for films that came from the South. But a lot of people don't want to necessarily watch dubbed content where it's not lip-synced. So now can we use AI in order to do that? That's easily $1 billion opportunity just in India. And the work that we've seen is really, really, really out there. In fact, we're working very closely with Adobe, and I'll talk about that in a bit. So let's look at the visual dub. Now, this is actually not from India. This is from Flawless. I took Peter's permission to play it. Could we just dim the lights on the screen? Yeah, thank you. Sorry.
Men du, vi är något stort på spåren här. Och senast det hände så var det en solospelare som saboterade allt. Mitt förslag är att vi försöker lösa det här, men vi gör det tillsammans. You know, we're on to something big here. And the last time it happened, another maverick sabotaged everything. I say, we try to resolve this, but we do it together.
So this launched at IBC last year is actually when I saw it for the first time. And all we needed to do is just send it to a bunch of CTOs of all our main studios, and they all went crazy because they all saw the opportunity of what this can do for the 1,600 to 1,800 films a year we make. Especially in a year where we've had the world's second largest merger of 3 digital OTT platforms, where Reliance Jio, which is the world's largest telecom operator, merged with the already merged Disney and Star platform, with 170 million subscribers and about 400 million monthly active users. Numbers in India are quite crazy. So obviously, I mean, in India, we have our own homegrown talent as well for AI, and this is one. So this one I request you not to record because this is not out yet. Lights.
पता है ये लंबी सी मेट्रो लाइन क्यों बनी?
Ever wondered why this long metro line was built?
सिर्फ इस छलांग के लिए
To make this joyous jump possible.
और हमारे जवानों के कदम कभी ना रुकें।
And nothing should stop our soldiers from marching forward.
इंडिया बनता रहेगा तो आगे बढ़ता रहेगा।
We believe that to keep growing, India needs to keep building.
So this was just 2 languages. On an average, a pan-India advertisement for cement would release in 12 at least, 12 to 14 languages. It would take a lot of time. Now it doesn't, right? It's Shah Rukh's voice in both cases. So when he did come on set, they got all the languages done, right? Whichever he could speak, and then the rest were done using AI. So this is just a couple of them. This is a small 30, 40 people startup out of Bangalore. Excellent work that they do. So we're now starting to include some of this especially in our animation program, because kids spend way too much time there working on the voice. And we don't really get enough time for them to do the fine motor skills of animation. Visual AI. Now this is been my find in all the work that we've done. So I'm going to play back a clip, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about it. So the bottom right you see is our student from our emerging media lab, and then this is the output. Lights, please. Let me. So we were beta testing and working with a visual AI company to do markerless motion capture, where you don't need the 55 Qualys sensors and the suit and the markers and all that. If you want to do something quick and dirty, if you're able to, you don't really have time, but you want to do this with pretty decent accuracy, as you can see. Now, little to no training time. The company is called Dollars Mocap. Little to no training time, one single 4K camera. So it's built on top of an open source pose estimation algorithm. So again, we've got that open source bit in there to make sure that we're not taking any data from other mocap companies who are using sensors and all that, which may be out there on GitHub or whatever. Real-time output, and then integrates with Unreal, Unity, Blender, everything. Now, this is a huge, at least we see it as a big add-on to what is possible. And the last bit is really where most amount of commercial work is happening in India right now in AI. And this was a challenge that actually it emerged from the AI workshop that we did, where students said, why don't we try and make one? And we said, okay, but you're not going to make one where only you and your family and friends and the rest of the school see it. We're going to put pressure on you, and you're going to have to make one which releases out in the world. And we have a media school as well, and they work very closely with a newspaper in India that's called Hindustan. It's a Hindi language newspaper, actually multilingual newspaper. So we said, can you give a live project? And they said, yeah, why not? We're just planning out next campaign, and here, this is the brief, and now go and do it, right? So this is third-year students, and we've got them to do a little bit of breakdown. Like Eric mentioned earlier, that breakdown is very, very, very important, because it's really critical for everybody to know how you reach there. Lights.
हर शहर की हैं कुछ तकलीफें, कुछ सलाह, कुछ उम्मीदें, जिन्हें अब वो बोलेगा और अपनी तरक्की के रास्ते खोलेगा। क्योंकि आपका भरोसेमंद हिंदुस्तान लाया है हर शहर के लिए उसका अपना एक खास पेज, जो बनेगा शहर के हर शख्स, हर मुद्दे की आवाज। अब बोलेगा हिंदुस्तान, सुनेगी सरकार। हिंदुस्तान, भरोसा नए हिंदुस्तान का।
So this is a pan-India newspaper that launched a campaign to launch one page per city. I think they're doing like 40 or 45 editions. So this was the challenge. Now let's just look at the breakdown for this, right? So it was a two-step workflow, I think, which was really, really smart. The kids surprised all of us, where they said, we won't do text to video, we will do text to image and image to video, right? Which I think was the game changer, how this was being able to do in 3 weeks. Otherwise, it's not possible. So image generation in Comfy UI, manual editing in Krita. That was very important because we had a lot of hands shots. We had a lot of, and it's very bad with hands. 6 fingers, I think they believe everybody has 6 fingers, right? Because there are more shots with 6 fingers than without. So it's very confusing, but anyway. And then the video generation was using Kling, Runway, and Sora, and we'll talk about why they used 3. And then final upscaling in Topaz. So this was the pipeline that was used. So longest shot was less than 3 seconds. Iterative ratio was actually 1:30. So, but because it was image to video, and then, text to image and image to video, on an average, it's 30 times 30, so 900, right? But broadly, each step was 30, so somebody mentioned 800 earlier. Yeah, it's actually very good, because you're easily looking at over 300 plus renders per shot. And then it took about 3 weeks to get this done. So Comfy UI, we use 2 primary models. So there's epic realism, so because highly detailed, realistic human subjects, and then Flux was to give it a more cinematic, stylized look. So whichever shots needed the either, we kind of mixed it up. Challenges was lighting, facial features, and composition. So if you see, there are quite a few close-ups there. Close-ups are problematic. And we still think we've not got it 100%. The little girl, that shot is too long because it registers as AI, right? But the rest don't really come out that way. And then recreating specific compositions and lighting setups, because there was also a print campaign that the newspaper was running, and they wanted there to be some visual similarity. So they had given us a lot of reference images where they wanted that look and feel to be similar, which was challenging. And then for lighting and compositing setups, depth anything and canny control net really helped, because it has very there's a lot of fine-tuning features. So this was done, and then Krita was essentially used for its ability to integrate with Stable Diffusion, which allowed for AI-assisted in-painting, out-painting, and fine-tuning of artifacts and inconsistencies and all that. And then manual refinement there was quite a lot of manual refinement. Video generation was using Kling, Runway, and Sora. So Kling for handling crowd scenes and large-scale environments is very, very good for that. They have it has excellent large, wide shot motion content. Right? It does it very well. Runway again, tighter shots with clearly visible hands and fingers. It does it best. And Sora, where the fluidity motion was critical within the shots. So it was a mix of three, and then editing in Resolve, color grading to adjust a consistent tone, and final upscaling using Topaz. So the one key feature was frame interpolation, which helped reduce the jitteriness and natural motion. And that's really what I think we've been able to do this. So this is actually running. I mean, if you go to YouTube in India, you'll see this running quite a lot. And there I would say is something that the students have really been able to go above and beyond. So, and with that, we then came back to this question. Sorry, where did I go? I messed that up. Yeah. So we come back to this question again, the final question, which is what we are doing. So what is core and non-core, comprehensive review and testing, cost benefit, updating curriculum, rinse and repeat every 6 months. Yeah, that's it. Thank you. Happy to take questions.
Sorry, first, I don't so much have a question as a request. You went through some of the slides very quickly at the beginning. Are you able to just go through them one more time a little slowly so that...
So I can send it to you, I mean...
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, happy to. No problem. Sorry.
Do you have any information on like cost savings or I'm sorry, do you have like any information you can share like on how some of these applications have helped you save time or money or be more efficient?
So the ad that you saw, Hindustan did a similar version of it last year. What they were willing to pay students for it was 1/10 of what they paid last year to get it done, actual shot by a production house, and students still made a 500% margin on it. So 1/10. And even after 1/10, students still made a 500% margin on it. Right? So, sorry, I mentioned earlier about Adobe. So there's two kind of big issues with AI which are more India-focused, where there isn't good quality India imagery or video sitting in the data set. When we started the work 2 years ago, it was a pain. We would type India, and one in 3 times it would show us a Native American. Right? When we said Indian, which was really weird because there are many more of us out there. So we then started to work with Adobe. We're India's largest rollout of Adobe, and we fed in all our student films, everything that we create, everything that students shoot, everything goes into the Adobe training data set. And that, I mean, we're hoping that more and more people do that so that at least we get good quality imagery out. And that has really helped. We're starting to see in Firefly excellent India footage coming out now. So again, recommendation to everybody, please share as much data as you can. And yes, Adobe paid us for it. It wasn't free, even though, wasn't a big amount or anything, but yes, it's our contribution. So that's one thing. Sorry, yeah.
Hi, Chaitanya. I'm Ricky from RIT. Just a question about how, with the rapid change of all these tools and everything, how are you approaching, this from the faculty side and them staying trained, and then who is teaching the students, who is exposing the students to all of this? That rapid change, how are you managing it in terms of the faculty and
So for each of the job roles, it's actually 3 kinds of people who are in the evaluating team. There are alumni who are out there. been around for a few, so there are a few thousand alumni out there, so we try and bring in a few alumni. There are the senior students, and then there are the faculty, but the more junior faculty of the lot, right? Which in one case got egg on my face because the senior faculty was actually far more in tune with AI than the junior one. And then that's where I realized that, youth is not necessarily a sign of innovation and age is not necessarily not. So, yeah, I mean, that's the process. It's a lot of evaluation. Oh, yeah. In a big way. And a lot of alumni out there in the industry doing a lot of work. So, alumni, students, and faculty.
Hi, Chaitanya. So this is related to the bounded script. Is there any tool you can suggest if I give a synopsis or log line system, AI will give me a draft kind of bounded script? Do you have anything?
No, and I hope that doesn't happen because people need to write. Screenwriting is the one thing where, if you saw, AI is the weakest. At best, AI can be a co-pilot right now in screenwriting. And we're actually working with a bunch of coders to actually build out AI co-pilot for screenwriters, and as well as a coverage tool, because right now we looked around the world and there is no tool for coverage. I mean, those of you who are screenwriters know what coverage is. So it's the weakest right now, so I would recommend don't look for it. Please hire a good writer. Request.
Do we have more time?
7 seconds, so no.
Right, thank you, that's all.
Thank you so much.